Hey guys, what I want to talk about today is just the basics of building a simple PVC pipe grid and installing sprinklers into it. So what you see behind me and to the left is just a little apparatus where right here this pipe is going to represent the main line that's coming in from somewhere around the house, and you're going to need to find that, and it's difficult to tell you exactly where it's going to be because it's impossible to know where the main line is coming from. Sometimes it's on the left side of the house, sometimes it's on the right. You'll just have to identify where it is. And luckily, if you're putting in new sod, or if you're putting in just a new sprinkler system, you should already know where the main line is because you know where the old pipes are and they have to hook into the main line. So you're just going to have to find it, follow the pipes back to where the main line comes from around the house. So we're going to pretend that's the main line coming out. And this long piece of wood back here, we're going to pretend is just a patio, like the edge of a patio. So the main line's going to come along the edge of the cement, and then there's the edge of the patio. So before I build the PVC pipe grid with the sprinklers, I generally like to get all my sprinklers ready. So this is that T that we talked about with the 3/4 inch bottom and then the 1/2 inch threaded area with the riser. I just put 6-inch risers on all these sprinklers. I got them ready, Teflon tape on both sides. And the reason why I like to do this is because I like to have extra leverage. When you're underground and you're gluing pipe together, remember how I said you want to have a 1/4 turn to 1/2 turn? When you have this full piece on here already and you're putting this part onto your main line, you can start out below, grab it once you've glued it, and just pull it up until it's level. And it's easier to see when the sprinkler is level and you've got your full 1/2 turn from going from where the sprinkler is laying down flat, pulling it all the way up to where the sprinkler's level, and you've got your full 1/2 turn. So I always like to get this part ready first. Some people just like to put this on, the T section on, and then screw into it and do this, but I like to do it the other way because, like I said, you get more leverage and then you can see when your sprinkler is level. So I got 3 of these ready just to show you how to do your 90 degree. This is a 90 degree. I have a 180 and also a 360. So when you're coming in to your main to your grass area from your main line, like I said in the previous sections, most of your sprinklers are going to go around the perimeter of your grass structure, because you're going to have 90s in all the corners of your grass area, and then you're going to have 180s along places like this, along your cement patio. And most of the sprinklers you're gonna install are just gonna go around the perimeter, the outside edge of your grass, and you're gonna shoot a couple of strategic sprinklers into the middle of your lawn that are gonna spray in a 360 degree pattern, most likely, to just make sure that there's water everywhere, unless it's a really small lawn. And a lot of lawns that I've done, they've been so small that I haven't even had to put a single sprinkler in the interior of the lawn. I could get everything watered from the outside of the lawn, just using 90 degree spray patterns and 180s. So it really depends on the size of your lawn. And like I said, you're going to need to space them 10 to 15 feet apart. So if your lawn is bigger, is a big enough area beyond 30 feet from one side to the other, then you're going to want to think about installing sprinklers into the middle of it. But if it's not, if it's 30 feet or less from any given edge to edge, then you're probably not even going to have to install sprinklers into the middle of your lawn, which is very nice. So the first thing I'm going to want to do to go around the edge of this lawn is I'm going to want to install a 90 degree elbow on the main pipe, just to curve it from going in along this edge to going along the edge of the patio. So very basic process. You just, like we did before, you have to take some of your glue. You put a little bit on the inside of the joint, a little on the outside of the pipe, and then you put it on and you twist it into place. So now it's got its full 1/2 turn. It's set to shoot along the edge of the patio. But first, before we can go any length along the edge of the patio, since we're in one of the corners, I'm going to want to install this first 90-degree sprinkler that's going to spray out in that direction. So you take a little piece of pipe. You don't need more than about 1.5 inches. Use these pipe snips. And you're going to do one side of this and one side of this, and you're going to install it in here. Now you have just enough room on the outside of this to go into your elbow joint. Now you're going to want to keep in mind the spray pattern of this. This might need to be screwed on a little more or screwed a little less so that it sits in such a way that the spray pattern goes out in the angle that you want, the 90-degree angle. It'll show you the arrows on top of the sprinkler head, so you can make sure that it's ultimately going to be pointing in the direction that you want. So now I'm going to do the same thing outside of this, inside of that, and like I said, in order to get the leverage that you want the turn, you're just going to pull straight up. Make sure it's fully seated, and then you can get it exactly where you want it to be. That's not quite level. Boom. And if you want, you can even use a level. You can grab a level and make it absolutely perfect. So now we have our first corner sprinkler installed. What I like to do at this point, the easiest, most effective method that I found, is to simply go to Home Depot and buy a 10-foot, this is a 10-foot section of 3/4 inch PVC pipe. The reason why this is awesome and very, very handy is because it completely eliminates the need to measure and to cut. This is already a 10-foot section, and like I said before, I like to install these types of sprinklers 10 feet apart from one another so that you get a little overlap and so that everything's perfect. So this is already pre-cut into an exact 10-foot section, and if you're just going to go along the line of your patio, then all you have to do is glue one of these in, and you know you're exactly 10 feet away from your first corner sprinkler, and it's time to install one of your 180s. So I'm going to do that right now. And keep in mind, these are all above ground. I'm just pretending that this is all in a trench and that these sprinklers are going to come up right to ground level. So you need to make sure that your trench, wherever it is going to be deep enough so that your sprinkler just comes right, your sprinkler head just comes right to ground level. I'm just doing it all above ground so you can see, but we're pretending that it's down inside of a trench. So again, you take your pipe glue, going inside of that, outside of this, and you install it, and you do your half turn. So now we have our 10-foot line. So you're going to want to take your 180-degree sprinkler, and you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to go inside of this and outside of this. And like I said before, you're going to want to start down here, and you're going to want to twist up. Make sure it stays seated. It sometimes wants to come and pull out. So now you have a full corner sprinkler. 10 feet away you have a 180, and you got to make sure, like I said, you have to either screw the riser in a little more or screw the sprinkler a little more so that it's pointed in the exact direction that you want it to go. And now you have a corner that's pointed to spray in the right pattern, and you have a 180-degree sprinkler that's pointed to spray in the right pattern. So what we want to do now is go into the interior of the grass, and we want to install a 360. So I'm going to cut off another about 1.5 to 2-inch section of pipe so that we can, what we're going to do is we're going to install this like this into a T-section, into that T-section down there, so that we can have an area to shoot another 10-foot pipe away this way. So what I'm going to do here, oh, I forgot my dipper. I'm going to install this little piece right in here. With my half turn, and then I'm going to glue this side and go down and glue the inside section of this tee. With my quarter to half turn, so that this T section is now pointed out in that direction. And what I can do from this point is now take another 10-foot PVC pipe from Home Depot, and I can glue it into this fresh tee down here. So that now I have a line, as you can see, that's stretching 10 feet away from my 180, and that's where I'm going to go and install this 360, which is going to now be somewhere close to the middle of the lawn. So now you have all three types of sprinklers that we mentioned. Very easy, simple to install. You have the 90 degree that's in the corner of your lawn. You have the 180 that's just along one edge of your patio, and then shooting out into the lawn from that, you have this 360. And you'll notice, well, it's hard to see from there, but the 180 sprinkler that's in that corner still has a part of the tee that's going that direction. So you can continue the line on, and if you have a really long patio, you can install another 180 degree, or if you're going to come to a corner, you can install another 90 degree and then use another elbow to go that way in your lawn. But you have options. You're not stopping the flow of water. It's just going to continue down. You can go off of your 360 to the other side of your lawn. You can go in pretty much any direction that you want. But this is the basics of just using elbows and T sections to go all throughout your lawn, and using the pre-cut 10-foot sections to make perfect measurements every time, 10 feet away from each other, so that these little 2-inch pop-up risers have the perfect separation, so you have some overlap in your yard, and you have perfect sprinkler coverage to cover the entire yard. So you just keep going down the line until every place on your yard is covered. And like we showed before, cutting sections, if you want it to be a little bit shorter, or if you run into a corner before the 10 feet is up, you can just cut a piece off so that everything fits perfectly. And then you can get the maximum coverage, and you can have sprinklers that are very, very easy to install in very little time. So thanks, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, just feel free to leave them in the comments section below.